All right, ready to dive into something different.
I'm game. What are we looking at today?
Today's deep dive, it's all about experimental games on Scheme. We're talking about the really out there stuff.
Oh, cool. Those games that really push the boundaries. Love those.
Exactly, the ones that leave you wondering, how did they even come up with that?
Totally. So what exactly is it about these experimental games that has us so intrigued?
Well, I think what's so captivating is that it's a space for pure innovation. We could forget about the big budget titles for a second
Right, right.
and just focus on those raw creative sparks.
Yeah, the games that make you rethink what a game can even be.
And to give you a taste, we've got excerpts from 5 different games, all tagged experimental, on Steam.
Nice. Should be interesting.
We'll break down what makes them unique and why players are raving about them.
Sounds like a plan. What's first on our list?
Okay, let's jump right in with Starstruck, Hands of Time.
Starstruck. Okay, I'm intrigued.
Just picture this. You're controlling a giant hand, like wreaking havoc on a miniature town.
Whoa, hold on. A giant hand, that's a new one.
I know, right? Think, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids meets Guitar Hero, but then throw in some of that earthbound charm.
Okay, now that's a combo I've got to see. How does that even work?
It's wild. But from the reviews, it seems to pull it off. People are praising the story, actually.
Really? What's the story about?
It's about an artist who's struggling to find their place to fit in. And what's interesting is that the gameplay seems to reflect that.
What do you mean?
Well, think about it. You're controlling this giant hand, and it kind of becomes a metaphor for the artist's own anxieties.
Oh, I see. Like their desire to create, but also the fear of maybe messing it up.
Exactly. And the visuals are something else. Players are loving the mixed media style they used.
Mixed media. How does that work in a video game?
They've got claymation, real-world objects, even hand-drawn elements, all blended together.
Wow, that sounds incredibly unique. I can see why people are drawn to that.
And the soundtrack. People are saying is the kind of music you just want to listen to on repeat.
So it's got the whole package then, a compelling story, unique visuals, and a killer soundtrack.
It seems like it. Some reviewers are even digging out their old Guitar Hero controllers for that extra dose of nostalgia.
Oh, that's brilliant. Tapping into those nostalgic feelings while still feeling fresh and new.
And speaking of fresh and new, let's move on to something completely different. ODDADA.
ODDADA. That name doesn't give much away. What is it?
So this one is less of a game and more of a musical toy box, really.
Interesting. A musical toy box. So is it like a rhythm game?
Not exactly. It's more about building your own soundscapes.
Oh, cool. Using what? Like virtual instruments?
Yeah, you've got all these virtual gadgets that you can use to create these weird and wonderful sounds.
I'm already intrigued. So you don't need to be a musician to enjoy it.
That's the best part. You don't need any musical experience at all.
Really? So even I could create something. That's impressive.
You'd be surprised how many people who claim to be musically challenged are totally hooked on this game. It's designed to be really intuitive.
I love that. Making music accessible to everyone. That's what it's all about.
And get this, you could even export your creations as WAV files.
No way. So you could use them for, like, any...
Exactly. Ringtones, soundtracks, whatever you can think of. The possibilities are endless.
Now that's thinking outside the box. I love it.
I'm already imagining the look on people's faces when my phone starts blasting out a crazy ODDADA ringtone.
Haha, brilliant. Okay, so ODDADA is all about creativity and exploration, but what about its gameplay? Is there any kind of progression?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And it's not the kind of game where you're following a linear path. It's more about unlocking new tools and gadgets as you experiment.
Oh, so the more you play, the more creative possibilities open up to you.
Exactly. It's like a reward system for sonic exploration. And the gadgets are wild. Think virtual synthesizers, weird sound effects, even tools that mess with time and pitch.
Now that sounds like my kind of toy box.
Right. It's like a musical playground for your inner child. But all right, let's shift gears a bit.
Sounds good. What's next? Something a little more, I don't know, relaxing, perhaps.
You read my mind. How about Cozy Merge?
Cozy Merge. Okay, the name already has me intrigued.
If you're looking for a digital dose of relaxation, this one might be it.
I'm listening.
Imagine a puzzle game where you're merging candies, right? But it all takes place in this incredibly cozy room, complete with a crackling fireplace and snow falling outside.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Like a warm hug in game form. So how does it work?
It's deceptively simple, actually. You just drag and drop candies to combine matching ones. And as you merge, you create new and more elaborate treats.
Okay, I'm following so far. Sounds pretty straightforward. What makes it experimental?
It's the way it blends that simple merging mechanic with this incredibly soothing atmosphere.
Ah, I see. So it's not just about the gameplay itself, but the entire mood and feeling it evokes.
Exactly. It's about creating a sense of peace and tranquility while you play.
So it's almost meditative in a way.
Exactly. You get lost in the rhythm of the merging, the gentle sounds of the room, the whole vibe.
I'll admit I'm already feeling more relaxed just thinking about it. Great find.
I know, right? But sometimes you need a little break from all that tranquility.
Oh, I hear you. Sometimes you need a little adrenaline rush to shake things up.
Exactly. And for that, we have I Did Not Buy This Ticket.
That title sounds a little ominous. I like it. Fill me in. What kind of game are we talking about here?
This one is a complete 180 from Cozy Merge. Prepare yourself, because we're diving into psychological horror.
Now we're talking. I love a good psychological thriller. What's the premise?
Reviewers are using words like Lynchian and surreal to describe it, which, to be honest, both intrigues me and makes me a little nervous.
Oh, I love when games mess with your head like that. Sounds like my kind of game.
You're dropped onto a nightmarish bus ride as a professional mourner, of all things.
A professional mourner. Now that's an interesting concept. What do you mean by nightmarish, though?
Well, it's a visual novel, and it sounds like the choices you make on this bus ride force you to confront past traumas.
Whoa, so it's like your past is literally haunting you on this bus ride.
That's the idea, and it sounds like it gets pretty intense. What I find fascinating is how they use those surreal elements to really dig into the protagonist's inner struggles.
Yeah, it's not just about cheap jump scares or anything. It's about exploring those deeper, darker parts of the human psyche. Intense.
And the multiple endings. It seems like the choices you make have some serious weight to them. What are we talking here? Life or death decisions?
I think it's more nuanced than that. From what I've read, it's more about how the main character chooses to confront her past.
So the choices you make shape her journey and determine how she comes to terms with her trauma.
Exactly. It's like an interactive exploration of healing and self-discovery, but with a healthy dose of psychological horror thrown in.
Sounds like an emotional roller coaster, and I am here for it.
Yeah.
Okay, for our final game, we're strapping on our VR headsets and stepping into a world unlike anything else. The utility room.
VR. Now you're speaking my language. The utility room, you say. What's so special about this one?
This game promises to make you feel utterly insignificant. Just picture yourself surrounded by colossal machinery, these massive structures that just stretch on forever.
Wow, that sounds intense. Like, in what way does it make you feel insignificant?
It really seems to highlight the immersive power of VR. You're not just watching this environment, you're in it, dwarfed by its sheer scale. Players are saying it evokes a sense of awe and dread.
I can only imagine. It's like that feeling of looking up at the night sky and realizing just how vast the universe is. But instead of stars, you're surrounded by these gigantic machines. That's heavy. So what do you actually do in this game?
That's the thing. It's less about objectives and more about just existing in this space, exploring, discovering. There are environmental puzzles to solve, hidden collectibles that shed light on the history of this place.
So it's more about soaking in the atmosphere, unraveling the mysteries of this world. I like it.
Exactly. It's about losing yourself in the scale of it all, feeling that sense of wonder and, yeah, insignificance in the face of something so much larger than yourself.
That's a powerful concept, especially in VR. It really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. And, I'm realizing that's a recurring theme in a lot of these experimental games. They're not always about achieving some grand goal or becoming all-powerful. They're about pushing boundaries, challenging our perceptions.
Absolutely. It's about embracing the unknown, the things that make us a little uncomfortable, and finding new ways to tell stories and create experiences.
We've gone from the quirky charm of Starstruck to the sonic playground of ODDADA, the tranquil puzzles of Cozy Merge.
And let's not forget the psychological depths of I Did Not Buy This Ticket, or the awe-inspiring scale of the utility room. Talk about a wild ride.
It is. And what have we learned from this deep dive into the experimental? That there's a whole world of creative, innovative, and sometimes downright bizarre games out there just waiting to be discovered.
Games that take familiar mechanics and use them in ways we never expected. Games that blur the line between art and entertainment. Honestly, games that make us redefine what a game can even be, that's what I love about this stuff.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
So the next time you're browsing for something new to play, don't shy away from that experimental tag.
Embrace the unknown, right? You never know what hidden gems you might find.
Exactly. You might just discover your next gaming obsession. Imagine the possibilities.
I know, right? You could create your own custom ringtones,
Oh, yeah.
soundtracks for videos,
That's cool.
even just ambient noise to relax to.
I could see that.
Endless possibilities, really.
Yeah, I'm already thinking like composing a quirky little tune for my next elevator ride.
I love it.
Yeah.
See, that's what ODDADA is all about. But you know what's really interesting about this game?
What's that?
Its progression system.
Okay, how so?
It's not about following a set path, like a linear storyline.
Right.
It's more about unlocking new tools and gadgets as you experiment and create.
So the more you play, the more you discover.
Exactly.
And the more tools you get to play with.
Precisely. And let me tell you, these aren't your everyday tools.
Oh, like what?
Ugh.
What kind of gadgets are we talking about here?
It's like a whole treasure trove of sonic oddities.
Okay, you're going to have to elaborate on that one.
Think virtual synths,
Right.
quirky sound effects,
Yeah.
even tools that let you manipulate time and pitch.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild.
Okay, you definitely had my attention at sonic oddities, but now you're messing with time and pitch. That's next level.
It's a trip, let me tell you. ODDADA is definitely living up to its name.
It sounds like it. Okay, from Sonic Adventures, maybe we can drift into something a little more cozy.
Ooh, cozy, you say? I'm all for a change of pace.
All right, then let's talk about Cozy Merge.
Cozy Merge. The name alone is already giving me warm and fuzzy feelings.
Right. If you're looking for a digital dose of relaxation, this one seems to deliver.
I am so down for that. So tell me more. How does it work?
Picture this. A puzzle game where you're merging candies.
I like where this is going.
But it all takes place in this incredibly cozy room,
Okay, I'm already relaxed.
complete with a crackling fireplace,
Nice.
snow falling outside the window.
It's like a digital retreat.
Exactly.
I'm sold. But seriously, how does the game actually work?
It's surprisingly simple, really.
Okay.
You drag and drop candies to combine the matching ones.
Like a match 3 kind of thing.
Sort of. But
Mm-hmm.
as you merge them, you create new and even more elaborate treats.
Interesting. So where does the whole experimental aspect come in? It sounds pretty straightforward so far.
It's all about the execution, I think.
Go on.
It's the way they blend this simple merging mechanic with this incredibly soothing, aesthetically pleasing atmosphere.
Ah, I see. So it's not just about the gameplay, but the whole vibe and feeling it creates.
Exactly. It's about finding that sense of peace and tranquility while you play.
So it's almost like a meditative experience then.
I think so.
That's really cool. I love that they're using games to explore these different states of mind.
Me too. And Cozy Merge seems to do it really well. Players are saying they just get lost in the rhythm of the merging, the sounds of the room.
It's like digital aromatherapy or something.
I know, right? But I will say, sometimes you need a little jolt to the system, a break from all that tranquility.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes you need a little bit of chaos to balance out all the zen.
Exactly. And for that, we have I Did Not Buy This Ticket.
Oh, that title alone has me on edge. Tell me more.
This one is a complete 180 from Cozy Merge. Get ready, because we're going deep into psychological horror territory.
I am so here for it. Hit me with the details. What's it all about?
Well, reviewers are using words like Lynchian and surreal to describe it.
Oh, no, those are words that pique my interest.
Right.
Lynchian and surreal. Sounds like my kind of nightmare.
It's a visual novel, and basically you're dropped onto this nightmarish bus ride.
Okay, I'm already creeped out. Who are you in this nightmarish scenario?
Get this. You're a professional mourner.
A professional mourner. That's
That's right.
strangely specific. I'm intrigued, though.
And as you make choices on this bus ride,
Okay.
you're forced to confront your past traumas.
Whoa, hold on. So it's like your past is literally haunting you on this bus ride.
That's the gist, yeah.
Okay, they had me at a nightmarish bus ride, but now you're throwing in some deep psychological torment. This game is checking all the boxes.
It seems like it, right? And what I find really interesting is how the game uses those surreal elements
Right.
to really dig into the protagonist's internal struggles. It's not just about jump scares and gore.
No, it's about something much deeper than that.
Exactly. It's about exploring those darker, hidden parts of the human psyche.
Exactly. Psychological horror at its finest. I'm hooked already. Are there multiple endings based on your choices?
Multiple endings, yeah.
Oh, I love when games do that. It really makes you feel like your choices have weight.
Me too. And it sounds like the choices in I Did Not Buy This Ticket have some serious consequences.
Like life or death kind of consequences, or something more internal.
I think it's more nuanced than that.
Okay.
From what I've read, it's more about how the protagonist chooses to face her past.
So the choices you make kind of shape her journey and determine how she ultimately heals from her trauma.
Exactly. And that brings us to our final game, the utility room.
The utility room. That title is surprisingly mundane after that last one. What kind of game is this?
This one's a VR experience, and it's completely different from anything we've talked about so far.
VR, you say? All right, you've got my attention. Tell me more. What makes the utility room so special?
This one promises to make you feel utterly insignificant.
Okay, insignificant is a strong word. How does it do that?
So imagine this. You're surrounded by this colossal machinery, these huge structures that just stretch on forever as far as the eye can see.
Sounds imposing. I'm getting like mist vibes, but bigger.
Way bigger. And that's where the VR comes in, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you're just watching this on a screen. You're in it.
Ah, I see. Scale is one thing, but VR can really make you feel that scale, huh?
Exactly. And players are saying that's what really gets to them. This feeling of awe, but also kind of dread.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like when you look up at the night sky and think about how vast the universe is. Except here, it's these giant machines instead of stars.
Exactly. So what do you actually do in this game?
You know, it's funny. It's less about objectives or goals and more about just existing in this world. You wander around, you solve environmental puzzles, you find these hidden collectibles that kind of give you glimpses into the history of the place.
So it's more about exploration and atmosphere than anything else.
Exactly. You get lost in the scale of it all. That feeling of wonder, of insignificance even, compared to something so much larger than yourself.
It's a trip, right? And, you know, it strikes me that that's a recurring theme with a lot of these experimental games we've been talking about.
How so?
Well, they're not always about becoming the hero or saving the day. They're about pushing boundaries, challenging our ideas of what a game can be, even making us feel a little uncomfortable sometimes.
I like that. It's about embracing the unknown. And honestly, I think that's where the really exciting stuff happens, both for developers and for players.
Totally. We've journeyed from the quirky charm of Starstruck to the sonic playground of ODDADA, from the chill vibes of Cozy Merge to the downright unsettling world of I did not buy this ticket. And we wrapped up with the awe-inspiring scale of the utility room.
Talk about a diverse lineup. We've really run the gamut of human experience here, haven't we?
We have. And I think what we've learned from this deep dive is that the world of experimental games is vast and full of surprises. There's something out there for everyone, even if you don't think of yourself as someone who likes experimental stuff.
Right. Don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. You might discover your next favorite game.
Exactly. That's it for our deep dive into the world of experimental games on Steam. Until next time, happy gaming.